Hi there, this is Shamla Tan, and I am known as the Spiritual Thug Life Coach, and I do coaching as well as spiritual work such as channeling. And so, as you may know, if you have seen my other videos, I channel this consciousness called Mother Buddha. Now, keep in mind that Mother Buddha is not a person or it's not an ascended master in any way. It's a consciousness that holds the energies of the new earth. And we are, through this channeling, I'm trying to access information, trying to access the energies of this holding energy to help us as we move forward in creating a new future. And so I have this question, for Mother Buddha about sounds. I'm very curious about this because I have been toning for a long time and I never got any clarity or answers as to why am I toning. All I know is that the toning helps me, the toning helps my clients, the toning really changes the vibrational frequencies of the space that I'm trying to clear. It also infiltrates into my client's energy body, and I can see the tone going in as energy frequencies clearing out some of the stuck energy, some of these negative energies residing in the aura. And depending on the tone, it has the capacity also to clear out entities, right? And so I know how the mechanics is, but my question was, why sound, right? Why am I doing this thing called toning? And some background on this, right? So my ability to tone came almost overnight. I didn't know I had this ability or capacity to do it until it happened. And I was quite shocked by it when it happened. It was like quite spontaneous. I was alone at home and suddenly these sounds came out when I was meditating. And I decided to use these frequencies on my clients and in my classes from then on. And so this happened perhaps about 25 years ago when it all started. So then I have this curiosity, right, about, what is this thing about the sound? And so when I started to channel Mother Buddha, the sounds, the toning started coming back quite often. And it became part of the work that I do with the energies of Mother Buddha, whether we are working with one-on-one clients or even in this group dynamics here, sharing information. So it's very interesting. And so I'm just going to, spontaneously tell you what has been shared with me. I've taken some notes, but just in case I forget, I will add in what has been told to me via the notes. If not, then I will just share, like live the information or the frequencies, right? And so the information that came from Mother Buddha is that she said that as a holding energy, right, holding for the future frequencies of the planet, she is in truth vibrational, and it is made up of sound waves. It is made up of sounds. And this future energy is of a higher frequency, higher vibrational frequency than we can perceive at this point in time. And so the best way in which we can perceive this or to understand this within ourselves, within our bodies, is through sound, is through vibration. Now, there is an entire wave of bandwidth of energy that operates within the planet, within the human biosphere, within the Earth biosphere. And so because energies and frequencies are sounds in essence, it's just that we cannot hear these sounds. They are of a much higher pitch. And they are also much more refined, and that's why we're not able to, we can feel the vibration, and that's why we are not able to hear them, because the human capacity to hear sound frequencies are very limited. Unlike animals, right? Unlike, let's say the whales, dolphins, right? They can hear a much larger bandwidth of frequencies, and they can even hear very, very low vibrational sounds, right? And so dogs, for example, can hear very high-pitched sounds like a whistle that's very high-pitched. And, for us, our limitation is such that we are not able to access that. But everything that moves, everything that is live produces a sound, right? And so I found this very fascinating. And so the thing to understand as well is that when every single human is incarnated, the human has to go through this fear-based bandwidth. And the reason is because as an incarnating soul, while your mother is still gestating, right, when you're still in your mother's womb, your soul hangs around within her aura. You are getting in touch with her vibrational frequency. So being in touch with our mother's energy is very important. And which brings me to this better understanding of why we have this Mother Buddha energy. We are going through this gestating period, right? And in essence, we are kind of like, hanging around within her aura and waiting for the energies to come into a full manifestation. So the same with us, when our mothers are pregnant, our soul kind of hang around within the aura, and we don't completely incarnate into the body of the baby until it really depends on soul to soul. Sometimes it takes a much longer period. And if we think about it, if we are growing spiritually as souls incarnating physical body, I feel it would take decades before we can fully incarnate the soul into the body, which means as we make our progress, right, in our spiritual development, we will possibly be anchoring more of these frequencies into our physical being, right? So the groundedness of these energies can come in much more fully the more we are in touch with our physical body, right? And so back to the mother thing, right? So when we are gestating, and we are introduced into this bandwidth of energy. So fear-based consciousness, which is the majority of the consciousness in existence on the planetary system at this point, we will be introduced to this. And the best way to be introduced is your mother's auric field, your mother's mental capacity, her emotional well-being. And then we're introduced into society where we are constantly feeling this pressure to conform, right? And it is all controlled by the frequency. It's all controlled by this, the waves, the sound waves. And so we all attune to that. And so to do something out of this collective consciousness, usually you need to do something really, really quite extreme to move out of the collective consciousness. And that takes a lot of strength, because it is like standing at the beach and waiting for the water to come, and the waves come, and then you go against the waves. Now that takes a lot of strength, right? To stand up against it and to go against that, right? And so that's how the spiritual growth is like, isn't it? When you're trying to grow spiritually, you're going against the frequencies, you're going against the sound waves of fear-based consciousness, so to speak. And so there's a vibrational force that may force you. Now, one of the key things to understand, and this is why grounding is so important, right? So what is grounding? Grounding is being in touch with the physical body. Because right now in the development of human consciousness, most people are so polarized to the brain, right? Everything is through the brain. Everything is through the thought process. Everything is, everybody is just thinking their way out of issues, their way out of things. But if we learn to tune to the physical body, our body is a fantastic instrument that gives us insights. And if we listen to the vibrational forces within our body, we get clarity, we get answers, right? And these answers do not necessarily come from the mind. It does not necessarily come from the intellect. It's outside of the mind. It's outside of the brain. And because most of us are polarized to the brain, and what happens in this situation is that we make decisions based on information that is an output from the mind, and it may not be in alignment with our highest good, right? And so we go like pros and cons, pros and cons. And then when we come up with a solution and we go for it, we still feel this discomfort within the body. We feel unease. We feel fear, right? So the best way to know if you are making a right decision in your life is if you make a big decision, it feels scary and the fear still runs you and you have anxiety, it means that you have made that decision through your mind and it's not necessarily through what is your highest good and in accordance to the frequencies that will allow you to flow with your higher self or with your soul. Does that sound complicated? If it does, drop me a question in a comment and I'll clarify it. Okay, let me know whether you are you grasping what I'm saying here. Now, vibrational frequencies are so powerful that if we think about it logically, right? We use logic here to think our way out. If fear consciousness is contained within a certain bandwidth of sound, it would make sense for us to try to vibrate at a higher frequency, right? To get out of trouble, so to speak, to get out of fear consciousness so that we are more in alignment with love-based frequencies or light-based frequencies. Now, the problem with this is that if we do not experience the base level of energy and we try to bypass it, which is very popular these days, right? Spiritual bypassing. We try to spiritual bypass things. We are still attempting to use the mind to make this decision to spiritually bypass. Because if you were listening to your body and your intuitive sense within the body, what the body will tell you is that it is important for you to allow yourself to move through the fear-based frequencies, and then as you move through, you get out of it. And the process of going through this is very scary, is very painful, and we avoid doing that. We try to get quick fixes, right? So the minds tell us that we need to come up with a solution. We don't want to go through the pain. We don't want to, we don't want to experience this. We don't want to experience that. And then it gets into anxiety. Whenever our body is not in a state of peace, it means that we're not in the right flow of where we are supposed to be emotionally, mentally, physically, or spiritually. That is the best gauge. And in order to gauge this, you need to be in tune and in touch with the physical body, right? So how do we get in touch with the physical body? We need to have self-awareness, right? We need to do grounding. Now, grounding is an exercise where you are getting in touch with who you are in your physicality, right? So there are several things in which you can do to ground, to feel like you are in your physical body and not so much in your head or not so much in your emotions or not so much floating around within your spiritual body with strange spiritual concepts. Getting in touch with your physical body requires you to understand, how the energy is flowing through your physical body. Are you eating right? Are you getting in touch, with all these subtle frequencies that you may sense, right? Aches and pains, what do they mean? Blocks in the physical body, what do they all mean, right? So learning about all of these helps you to get in touch with how the physical body is experiencing life. And it is through your physical body that will act as a very powerful barometer as to how you are getting in touch with your spiritual source. Because your physical body is the grounding anchor for your spiritual energies. And it is also the body that is the most, obviously the most solid, the most dense, and it is also very tangible for you to experience your intuition. Your intuitive self is in your physical body. I know this goes against many of the teachings that many of you have been taught or you have learned, but if you were to experience this, I challenge you to experience this within your physical body. You will experience your intuitive self on a whole new level, right? So you have nothing to lose by trying this out. See how it feels. right? So some of the ways in which I have taught many of my students, to get in touch with the body, right? Breathing exercises, doing Qigong, doing Tai Chi. For some people, even drinking ginger water, eating ginger, eating foods that are root-based helps you to get in touch with that element. We're working with elemental energies. You are helping yourself to vibrate at that frequency of being rooted. And why do we need to do all of these things? It's a combination of things, not just one thing that helps you to get grounded, right? So combination of things, eating well, feeling the energies, as well as feeling the emotions and not avoiding the emotions, right? The avoidance of emotions causes us to have this a kink, right? A kink in our vibrational attitude. And this kink would create a loophole. This kink would create somewhat like a black hole, right? For all of these emotional energies to get sucked in there, and it creates a big disturbance within our auric field. So it's very important to be able to be aware of the emotions when we are experiencing them, good or bad, whatever it may be. Experience them, allow them to flow through. Do not resist it. The more resistance you have to it, the more built up of that energy, and then we push it down into the shadow aspect of ourselves, and we become totally blocked or unaware of these shadow emotional energies running through us. And in time to come, they will manifest themselves as illnesses, diseases, and so on and so forth, right? And that's why it is so important to treat our physical body well, to do it holistically, and to feed ourselves well, and not to introduce any kind of foreign substance, foreign or unhealthy stuff into the physical body that can block us from getting in touch with how our physical body senses are experiencing. Now, if you do yoga, this is fantastic because yoga really helps you to feel the flow of the energies through your being. When you do yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong, all of these helps to move the energies, and certainly helps you to be so in touch with your physical body, right? So these are very good exercises to do to be in tune with the vibrational frequencies. Now, when we work with sounds, right, what we want to do is through toning, for example, or listening to music, for example, what we are allowing the physical body to do is to open up to the vibrational frequency and then feed the rest of our being, because the body is the first contact, right, with the physical world. And sounds, vibrations, get in touch with our subtle bodies first before it reaches our physical body. So it's a two-way response, so to speak. So when you have tones, or you have music, or you have sounds, it get in touch with your spiritual body, mental body, emotional body, and then you feel it within your physical body, right? The moment you feel it, you ground the energies. It makes you feel whole. It makes you feel like your entire being is experiencing expansion. If the tones and the music are of a positive vibrational frequency. Now, if the music that you're listening to is very destructive, if the music you're listening to causes you to feel fear, for example, then it gets, the same thing, it gets in touch with your subtle bodies, and then it vibrates into your physical body, and then we feel it, right? We feel like, okay, I am not feeling at ease in my physical body. I feel uncomfortable in my physical body. That's a powerful barometer, all right? Now, usually when people are busy in the minds, they're not in touch with the physical body, they're not able to feel, right? In their minds, they're trying to, so let's say they hear a sound that is, the vibration may be fear-based, and they sense it within the minds, within the mental body. And within the mental structure, they make a decision about what the sound is, and they try to bypass it and not listen to it. But then the vibration hits the physical body. But the mind has already made up its mind that it's not going to feel it, it's just going to let it go. But then the vibration hits the physical body, and then it manifests itself as anxiety. And people have no clue why they feel anxious. right? And sometimes it feels like, I don't know why I'm anxious. I just feel this anxiety. It's really the vibrational energies that has passed through the being, and the mind or the emotions is completely just, chuck it aside and like, okay, let's not feel this. Let's not experience this. And that's why the body feels the anxiety. And then that can manifest itself as unease, dis-ease, like you lose your appetite, or you have a craving for certain foods that may not necessarily be healthy for you, because it is an attempt to try to numb these feelings or these vibrations further, right? So sounds are so powerful. Make sure that you surround yourself with sounds that are of a good vibrational frequency that's going to nourish you, that's going to feed you well. There are also sounds that we cannot hear that may be affecting us. So, with all of our gadgets, with all of our computers and stuff, they do emit sounds that we may not be able to hear, but we can feel it. So with your hands, right, go around your room, right? Firstly, ground yourself, be fully present, use your hands, feel certain parts of your room, your space, where there is, you may need some practice as you do this, but try it anyway. As you may feel a subtle change in vibrational frequencies in certain parts of your room, and if you feel that energy there is not harmonious, then do something about it, right? Remove something or add something. Now, this is where, the Chinese tradition of Feng Shui, right, comes into play. Feng Shui is about the balancing of elements to bring about harmony and peace. I'm talking about the real Feng Shui, not the superstitious kind of Feng Shui that's so popular these days, right? So Feng Shui is about attuning to the harmony of the space and whether it feels right for you or not. And only you will know, right? Only you will know what is in harmony with you in your space. And if you're working with your family, then there's a collective energy. Now, sounds, right? Going back to sounds and tones, it is so important and key that you feed yourself well in terms of vibrational tones that you're listening to. If there are sounds that does not bring you harmony to your being, then don't indulge in that, right? If you're constantly listening to loud banging music. I'm not saying loud banging music is bad. Sometimes we need to get it out of our system, and loud banging music seems to be the only way to go. But if you're constantly doing that, you find that there is an impact in your energy system, in your auric field. Now, on the flip side, if you're constantly listening to those airy, new age kind of music, it can make you feel very ungrounded. It can make you feel very airy and flighty, right? Now, too much of that is also not healthy for you, so we need a good mix, right? So your sound diet is very important, all right? So keep that in mind. So in my research, with Mother Buddha and the frequencies and how we work with energies of tones and sounds, this has given me greater insights as to why the toning is part of the process and why sounds play such an important role, and what it means for me on a personal level as well, and which I will share at a later time, why these sounds play such a big part in my own personal journey and in my service work. I hope that this has given you insights into vibrational tones and sounds. If you have any questions, do comment below. And if you feel like this message is something you'd like to share with someone, please hit the share button, and please like the video as well. It will help the channel to grow. As you know, I'm still trying to grow this channel because there is so much work in store for us in this year 2022 and the years to come. And vibrationally, this is the year, right, where we will be doing a lot of work. Now, if you are a fellow light worker, you're a fellow healer, or a spiritual teacher, you know that it is time now to gear up. There is a lot of work for us to be done. And this year we will see the real split, right? So 2022, vibrationally, we will, even though it's about working cohesively in partnership, it also signifies a split, which is very interesting. And so do reach out, if you would like to collaborate, work together, do something, because there is so much that we need to do together collectively. And I wish you well and have a wonderful day. Oh yeah, before we end off, let's do some toning. And let me just work with energies of Mother Buddha. I like to request from Mother Buddha to bring in 3 tones for us to experience this. And if you like to be fully in your physical body, breathe in deeply, open your heart, your mind to receive. I hope you've enjoyed that and that you have opened your aura or energy up to receive these frequencies from Mother Buddha. And I send you blessings of light and love. Namaste and God bless you.